The ruthless truth about power. They don't teach you. Machiavelli. Power. Everyone talks about it, but almost nobody really understands it. When we hear the word power, we imagine kings, presidents, billionaires, military generals. But the truth is, power is everywhere. It's in your workplace, it's in your family, it's in your friendships. Every human interaction, in some way, is a struggle for power. Yet schools don't teach us how it really works. Religion tells us to be humble, governments tell us to follow rules, and leaders tell us they're fair. But if you look closely, you'll see something different. Power isn't fair, it isn't gentle, it isn't kind. Power is ruthless, and the few who understand this truth end up ruling over everyone else. And tonight, we're diving deep into those rules, the ruthless truths about power that they never teach you in school, in church, or even in leadership seminars. By the end of this video, you'll see the world differently. You'll recognize why some rise while others fall, and you'll finally understand the game that's been played all around you. Machiavelli's world. Why he wrote The Prince. To understand Machiavelli, you first have to understand his world. The Italy of the 1500s wasn't a united country like today. It was divided into city-states: Florence, Venice, Milan, the Papal States, and Naples. Each one was constantly at war with the others. Alliances shifted overnight. One day Florence was your ally, the next they betrayed you. Imagine Game of Thrones, but in real life. Machiavelli wasn't just a philosopher sitting in a library. He was a diplomat, a spy, and a political operator for the Republic of Florence. He met kings, popes, mercenaries. He negotiated with ruthless warlords like Cesare Borgia, men who lived and breathed manipulation, fear, and violence. Machiavelli saw firsthand how fragile power was. But here's the twist. After years of service, he was betrayed. When the Medici family regained control of Florence, Machiavelli was accused of conspiracy, arrested, tortured, and exiled. Imagine dedicating your life to politics, only to end up disgraced, broke, and cast aside. And it was in exile, broken and desperate, that Machiavelli wrote The Prince. It wasn't written for the people. It was written as a gift to the Medici rulers, a manual showing that he understood the ruthless reality of power. He hoped they'd bring him back into politics. He believed that people are not naturally good. They are selfish, greedy, and quick to betray. He writes that men are ungrateful, fickle, liars, deceivers, and shunners of danger. Now that sounds depressing, right? But look around. Think about how people act at work, in politics, in relationships. How many times have you seen someone smile to your face while plotting behind your back? How many times has loyalty disappeared the moment money, fear, or opportunity entered the picture? Machiavelli argued that rulers must expect betrayal. If you build your power on trust alone, you're doomed. People obey not because they love you, but because they need you, or because they fear what happens if they don't obey. Machiavelli's genius was this. He said, if you want to keep power, you cannot rely on human goodness. You must assume people will act in their own interest, and that means your power must be built on necessity, not love. Fear versus love. This brings us to one of Machiavelli's most famous questions. Is it better for a ruler to be loved or feared? Most people would say, loved, right? We all want to be liked. But Machiavelli gives a cold answer. It is safer to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Why? Because love is fragile. Love depends on emotions, and emotions change. Today, your followers love you. Tomorrow, if you raise taxes, or make a mistake, or even just fail to please them, that love evaporates. Fear, on the other hand, is reliable. If people fear the consequences of betraying you, they will think twice. Fear doesn't depend on emotions, it depends on survival. But here's the nuance. Machiavelli warns that you must never be hated. Hatred creates rebellion. Fear works when it's controlled. If you push too far, cruelty, humiliation, pointless violence, then people stop fearing you and start plotting against you. So the secret is balance. A ruler must inspire just enough fear to ensure loyalty, but not so much that it breeds hatred. Think of it like walking a tightrope. Too soft, and people disrespect you. Too harsh, and they overthrow you. Look at history. Julius Caesar was loved, but he was assassinated because senators envied his popularity. Stalin ruled through terror, and while he stayed in power, his legacy is one of paranoia and endless purges. Modern CEOs often walk this line too. Some try to be the friendly boss, only to be ignored. Others are feared tyrants, but their companies eventually collapse from resentment. Machiavelli's conclusion? If forced to choose, pick fear, because when love fails, fear still keeps people in line. Ruthless moves of history's power players. Now let's look at some real examples of Machiavellian strategy in action. Cesare Borgia, the ruthless Italian warlord, was Machiavelli's model of the perfect leader. Borgia used cunning, deception, and calculated cruelty to seize territory. One story says he hired a brutal commander to terrorize a rebellious city. Once the city was subdued, Borgia executed the commander publicly. Why? Because the people now hated the commander, not him. He got credit for restoring order while removing the very man he had used to spread fear. That's pure Machiavellian genius. Or take Napoleon Bonaparte. He used propaganda constantly. He understood that appearance matters more than reality, one of Machiavelli's key points. Napoleon carefully staged paintings of himself as a heroic figure, even when the battles weren't glorious. People believed the image, not the reality. Even in the modern era, leaders apply these lessons. Look at corporate tycoons. They smile for the cameras, talk about innovation and progress. But behind closed doors, they cut ruthless deals, crush competition, and exploit weakness. The dirty secrets of modern power. Now that we've looked at history, let's talk about today. Because Machiavelli's lessons aren't stuck in the 1500s, they're alive and well in modern politics, business, and society. When Machiavelli said, "It is not necessary for a prince to have all the good qualities, but it is necessary to appear to have them," he was describing public relations centuries before PR existed. Today, leaders hire entire teams to manage their image. Think about politicians. During elections, they shake hands, kiss babies, promise equality, hope, and change. But once in office, the real decisions, wars, corporate deals, backroom negotiations, are far more ruthless. The smiling politician is just the mask. Behind the curtain, Machiavelli's principles are running the show. In corporations, it's the same. CEOs talk about family culture and team spirit. They'll put up posters saying we care about our employees. But when profits fall, thousands are laid off overnight. That's not kindness, that's Machiavellian necessity. Even on social media, power is wielded ruthlessly. Influencers, celebrities, and brands curate every image, every caption. They craft a persona to look authentic, while behind the scenes, every move is calculated for clicks, engagement, and control of attention. Machiavelli would have loved Instagram. And then there's fear. It's easy to think fear only works through violence or dictatorships. But today, fear is more subtle. Fear of being canceled. Fear of losing your job. Fear of being socially excluded. Leaders don't always need soldiers with swords. They just need the power to shape your reputation, your income, your digital footprint. That is 21st century Machiavellianism. Machiavelli's 5 Laws of Control. Machiavelli didn't write bullet point rules, but his writings give us timeless laws of control. Let's break them down. Law Draw 1. Control perception. Appearance is stronger than reality. Machiavelli said people judge with their eyes, not their hands. That means the story you tell matters more than the truth. Leaders who look confident, sound moral, and appear successful are often believed, even when the reality is shaky. Think about how companies spend billions on branding, or how politicians stage photo ops. The image creates power. Law number 2, manage fear, but don't overuse it. Fear is a tool. Too little fear, and people ignore you. Too much fear, and they rebel. The best rulers keep people slightly anxious, but not desperate. Example: authoritarian governments allow just enough freedom to keep people from revolting, but maintain constant surveillance to remind everyone who's in charge. Law number 3, divide loyalty. Machiavelli warned that allies are temporary. To stay in power, never let people unite against you. Keep factions divided so they depend on you as the balancing force. In modern terms, companies play departments against each other for promotions. Rulers encourage rivalry among advisors, and even in families, parents sometimes play siblings off each other to maintain authority. Law number 4. Morality is secondary to necessity. For Machiavelli, the ruler's job isn't to be good, it's to survive. That doesn't mean you must be cruel. It means when forced to choose between moral purity and survival, survival wins. Many leaders talk about ideals, but in private, every major decision comes down to what keeps me in power. Law number 5. Power must be constantly renewed. Machiavelli said rulers must always take new actions, wars, reforms, projects, to keep their reputation alive. Today, this is why CEOs launch endless new products, politicians keep announcing initiatives, and influencers never stop posting. The moment you fade, your power dies.